Welcome back to the Edwards Report. My name's Kalen, and did you know that the average college graduate with student loans leaves with over $30,000 of loans? And now, with 5 million borrowers currently in default and potentially 10 million more joining them in the coming months, we are facing a financial catastrophe. Today, we're going to be exposing the truth behind the student loan crisis and how it is destroying the lives of millions of Americans.
Does anyone else find it odd that people complain about average Americans wanting student loan forgiveness, but then support a billionaire who has had hundreds of millions of loans forgiven and filed 6 bankruptcies?
Really can't believe it's people in the comments of this student loan situation talking about this is how the world works. You borrow money, you pay it back. Shut your stupid ass up. A fucking school loan ain't the same as an auto loan or a home loan or a personal loan, you damn idiot.
Wow, she is mad.
Black people, minorities especially, had to go to school. We ain't left. We had to go to school. I had no choice but to go to damn school.
No, that is the victim mentality. You did not have to go to school. You were told to go, but you always had a choice in the matter. I feel like throughout this video, I'm going to be hearing a lot of people trying to blame shift and blame other people. This is not true.
And then when I went to school, it wasn't like I'm working for my damn self now. I'm making money for other people. And the money gets taxed. This is all going back into the hand. It's like a big ass circle, and y'all fail to realize that. Your fucking credit score is made the fuck up. That's a made up shit. Money made the fuck up. This is a system. America is a system. I'm confused at how the hell y'all still don't realize this shit. Then on top of that, y'all ain't even willing to try to make reasonable payment plans. Y'all ain't even trying to do like $100 a month. Y'all want the whole shit. Y'all want $2,000 a month on a goddamn degree.
See, that's something that I think is wrong, right? Like there should be some income-based repayment plans, but as you will see later in this video, people be trying to finesse the system and they try and do it perpetually. The whole idea is if you took out the loan, nobody forced you to do it. And what's happening is people who voluntarily took out these loans, whether they understood them or not, are now trying to blame other people and fit the bill on taxpayers because of their bad decisions. And that's wrong. If you took out the loan, you pay it back.
That people ain't even using. When I got out of school, I couldn't even use my degree right away. They wanted 100 years of experience. Like, what the Y'all garnish my wages. I'm garnishing my damn job. Period. I get energy siphoned daily. Restraining myself from hopping through the computer and choking people out daily. And I've been doing this shit since I've been 16. I've been working in America since I've been 16 and ain't got too much to show for it other than the standard American properties. So if you disagree with whatever I say, you could do the hokey pokey, turn your ass around, lick your own ass, and burn in hell. I don't know if I...
Wow, these people, man. Out of the mouth, that heart is speaking. And one thing that I'm consistently seeing with these entitled people, the people who are committing the welfare fraud, is they be having some crazy mouths, and I would just say it, some wicked hearts. Like Lord knows what be going on in their personal life. If you are on the internet talking like this and wishing this on just normal people who ain't done nothing to you, normal people who you're actually expecting to clean up after your mess, to fix your mess, to pay off your loans, that's how you would talk to them? Whew. Repent.
Had too many magical chocolates, but I'm gonna need y'all to really wrap your mind around what we're really in, because y'all are sick.
Well, they just dropped the student loan bomb. The federal government just announced that it's coming for your loans, and collections begin May 5th for student loan debt. If you're in default, they can garnish your wages, they can take your tax return, and they can even take like your benefits like Social Security. And if you still can't pay it and you default, they're gonna send you to collections.
I just don't get what people expected. They are going to collect the money that you owe them one way or another. Why would you want to be in debt to the federal government? I mean, they're going to say, oh, I didn't want to, but you still signed it. You still agreed to the terms. Nobody held you at gunpoint and forced you to do it. You did it. And this is how they collect.
They just said that 92% of the people that went to college and racked up all this student loan debt don't and won't have jobs in the degrees that they got the debt in.
But we've known this. We've known this. We've known this.
So why y'all asking us to pay this money back? If you know that, why are we being asked to pay?
Because you knew it too. You knew it too.
And then this is the thing that gets me. Before I could even lift my right foot out of the door frame of graduation, my university was already contacting me for a donation. It's because of y'all that I'm a bam flipping donation to the Department of Education. And now they want to garnish our wages. What did you go to school for? Did you graduate with your degree? And are you actively using your degree to make tons of money like they promised you? Was it worth going to college? Was it worth racking up all this student loan debt? And even if you did go to college, finish your degree, you walked across the stage and you got your pretty degree, have you finished paying back your student loan?
Yeah, you heard that correctly. Student loan borrowers will see Social Security checks, tax refund disappear over defaulted debt. The Trump administration don't give a damn about the millions of Americans who are currently behind on their student loan following the end of the pandemic and all the changes to the loan system.
Are we forgetting that we're in a recession? Are we forgetting that the pandemic is still happening? Like, we're still in a pandemic. COVID didn't just, like, poof, disappear. And that the 5 years that has happened where there was, like, forgiveness and pause, whatever, that it just was a fun time.
The part that behooves me, right? Donald Trump and his administration approved a lot of people getting PPP loans with millions of dollars that forgave them. Not chastising them, saying to repay their loans back.
They're a Republican.
An investment. Your education evidently was not an investment. If y'all didn't even have the foresight to get a degree in something that could produce some type of yield. But PPP loans were for legitimate businesses, and everybody that committed fraud by taking advantage of that system is now starting to get locked up and going to prison.
Congress people who owed millions of dollars to the government in the form of PPP loans. But yet he's shaking you down instead.
PPP loans. Great example. Yeah.
And the bottom of my casket will have a file cabinet for all these student loans to rest in heavenly peace. That's how much I owe in student loans. How much money I owe in student loans. Now let me provide you with some additional information, since I know that this video is going to go viral because people are cruel and a lot of people are going to be ready to attack me in the comments and judge me and do whatever they got to do to feel good about themselves. I am a proud 25-year-old with over $100,000 in student loan debt.
And the thing is, this doesn't affect any of us that don't have your student loan debt. What's really happening is you're going to be made an example one way or another by your good decisions or your bad decisions. And being that you guys posted these videos publicly, we're going to react to them so that we can share the information with other people who may be unsuspecting, so that when they get older and become the irresponsible 25-year-olds that y'all are, they won't be able to use the excuse and said that people didn't tell them. You see how that works? So yeah, you guys are actually doing a great thing and being transparent, and I really honor you guys for it. And I'm really not trying to come down and like use any ad hominem attacks. Like, it's not personal. Nobody's calling you stupid or dumb. We don't even do that. What you did was foolish though, and you were misled, and that's unfortunate. But that does not mean that everybody else bails you out, especially all of us who are responsible and didn't do what you did. Consider this a learning lesson. Consider this life's tuition that you now have to pay.
I went to school. I got a free associate degree through the early college program. I then furthered my education and got 2 additional degrees. I have a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship with a minor in management, and I have a master's degree in organizational leadership.
Those don't really sound necessary. Not even gonna hold you. It sounds good, but as an actual entrepreneur, business owner who manages people, you don't even need all that. You don't even need all that.
One thing America doesn't know about me is that I have 1 additional degree that's not on file and it's not in the records anywhere, and that's a law degree. At any given point, I'm prepared to take the stand and explain why I cannot afford to pay a dime on them student loans. Baby, you ain't never seen a sharp, undegreed attorney like me ever in your life. It's my time to shine.
What about the bankruptcy too? Like, I wonder, the president, I wonder where that money went.
Hold up, let me cook. Y'all might not like what I'm about to say, but y'all need to hear it. Y'all need to hear it. We need to expose this problem, okay? After nearly a 5-year pause, now it's time to pay the piper. But here's what they're not telling you. Here's what they're not being honest about. This crisis didn't just happen by accident. It's actually the result of a system designed to entrap young people in financial bondage. The world tells young people that they need a degree at any cost. They're promised high-paying jobs that will easily cover their loan repayment. But the reality is that many graduates find themselves working in fields unrelated to their degrees, making far less than they anticipated, while the interest compounds their debt into an insurmountable burden. And what's even more troubling is the sense of entitlement that we're seeing from these borrowers. Many of these borrowers are now starting to argue that they shouldn't have to repay what they willingly borrowed. They're demanding taxpayers, including those who never went to college or who sacrificed to pay off their own loans, to foot the bill for their education. And I just think that's wrong. But what do you guys think about it? Go ahead right now and give this video a like. And I'd also like to hear your guys' stories in the comment section below about how student loans have impacted your life or even your children's lives.
The Biden administration, before leaving office, they had ended a number of programs that had really kind of softened the return to repayment. Now, if you recall, student loans resumed back in 2023, then the Biden administration gave borrowers an additional 12-month grace period, whereby if you were to miss a payment or be late on a payment, it wouldn't count against you. That was over in September 2024. And I think now we're starting to see the consequences of the end of that grace period. A lot of borrowers I've spoken with in the last couple of months have said that they weren't even aware that student loans had fully gone back into repayment. And so many of them accidentally missed payments for several months. At least that's what they're saying to me. And now we're starting to see the consequences of that. I think around February, you were starting to hear about people whose credit score started to drop because the department had to, and student loan servicers that manage the loans had to report their late payments to the credit bureaus. And so there are about 4 million people who are 90 days past due on their student loans. And so there's a real fear right now that many of those people, if there isn't an intervention and they don't start making payments or find a plan that they could afford, they could go into full-blown default later this year. And if that were to happen and they're past a full year of not making payments, well, that's when you start to see things like the government garnishing your wages. That's when they can start seizing your tax refunds, seizing Social Security benefits. And certainly we don't want to see that for any American, especially because the consequences are so severe and people are really worried about their economic status at this stage.
All those folks whining and complaining, saying that, oh, Joe Biden, he didn't do enough to end student debt relief. Even though he tried to get rid of all student loan debt relief, went to the U.S. Supreme Court. U.S. Supreme Court said no, and then he turned around and then they figured out within the rules how they could wipe out more than 150, upwards of $200 billion in student loan debt. And then people were still moaning about how they wanted him to wipe out student loan debt relief when it was already clear it didn't happen. So maybe if a bunch of those same people had voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, then that would have happened, because then she would have appointed 3 Supreme Court justices. But that's another story. So what then happens? Folks sit on their asses, they don't vote, or some vote for MAGA, and guess what we now get? This from the clueless press secretary Carolyn Leavitt about student loans.
The Trump administration has announced we will put an end to Joe Biden's illegal student loan bailout attempts. No student loan has been referred to collection since March of 2020.
That's crazy. This almost sounds like exactly what we want to happen. It's almost like Trump won. It's almost like this is exactly what the American people want. That's crazy.
That comes to an end. On May 5th, the Department of Education will resume involuntary collections for borrowers with defaulted federal student loans. The student loan portfolio controlled by the federal government is nearly $1.6 trillion, but fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers are in repayment. This is unsustainable, unfair, and a huge liability for American taxpayers. Debt cannot be wiped away. It just ends up getting transferred to others. So why should Americans who didn't go to college or went to college and responsibly paid back their loans pay for the student loans of other Americans? The Trump administration will never force taxpayers to pay student loan debts that don't belong to them. Student loan borrowers need clarity, and we're finally giving it to them. Borrowers will now be clearly expected to repay their loans, and those who default on their loan obligations will face involuntary collections. The government can and will collect defaulted federal student loan debt by withholding money from borrowers' tax refunds, federal pensions, and even their wages. America is $36 trillion in debt. We must get our fiscal house in order and restore common sense to our country. If you take out a loan, you have to pay it back. It's very simple.
Look, I don't see nothing wrong with that. I don't see nothing wrong with that. There's so many people that are so used to being in credit card debt up to their eyeballs in their mortgage payments and car payments and now these student loans that they're used to deferring and neglecting their responsibilities to service the loans that they voluntarily took out. And you elect them and they become the populace that helps elect different officials. And you get this type of negligence in the government. And now we're 36 trillion. And this is bipartisan, right? Like this is Republicans and Democrats. We're up to our eyeballs in debt as a country and nobody's doing anything about it. But we need to talk about the psychology behind this student loan problem and why so many people are making poor decisions about education and debt. I think it comes down to 3 cultural myths that contradict what the Bible has instructed us to do. And I know, I get it. Some of y'all don't like when I get preachy, but I don't care. I really don't care, because the foolishness that we see that goes on in the world could be prevented if people would take heed to the wisdom of the Bible. So if you don't want to sit through it, then leave. So the first myth that we need to talk about is that success requires a traditional college degree. This is a blatant lie, and it has misled so many young people to pursue expensive credentials without considering alternatives like trade schools, apprenticeships, or even entrepreneurship. God has given each one of us unique gifts and talents, and as 1 Peter 4:10 tells us, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others. The second myth is that debt is normal, and not only normal, but necessary. Our culture has normalized borrowing for literally everything, from education to vacations to literally anything you can put your mind to. But scripture consistently warns us against debt. We always talk about Proverbs here on the show. And in chapter 22, verses 26 through 27, it says, "Do not be one who shakes hands in pledge or puts up security for debts. If you lack the means to pay, your very bed will be snatched from under you." Third myth, and this may be the most egregious, and it's the one that we're really covering in this video, is the myth of entitlement. The entitlement that says that someone else should pay for your choices. God's economy is built on personal responsibility, hard work, and stewardship, not expecting others to bear the burden of your decisions. And it's these cultural myths and lies that have created a generation that feels entitled to education without counting the cost before they go get it. So now you have a generation that views debt as inevitable rather than something that is avoidable. And that looks to government for bailouts rather than taking their personal responsibility. If you guys have ever believed some of these cultural lies that the world has told us, give this video a like and then comment below which cultural lie you once believed about education or your finances. I think that your honesty in this could really help somebody avoid the same trap.
Why do people that have student loan debt feel like they shouldn't have to pay that back? I'm just very confused.
Never mind what she talk about. Let me show you how to get your loans discharged. PSA, if your school misled you in way, shape, or form, you are entitled for a loan discharge. Go to studentaid.gov.
If they misled you in any way, shape, or form, this sounds too good to be true. Let's see what misled means.
Click the menu sandwich little lines up there. Go to loan forgiveness. All the way down until you see type of loan forgiveness. Click it. I see a bunch of options that tell you ways to qualify, and I'm gonna show you how to qualify. All the way to where it says loan discharge. You're gonna pick one of the 2 options if your school misled you, or if your school's closed. You're gonna click your school misled you. You're gonna take your time applying for this application. Repeat the same thing over and over again. The school misled you. Reasons, ways to find out how a school misled.
People just be lying. And this is the problem. They never learn from their lessons. They never learn how to take personal responsibility. And then this just seeps into every other area of their life. It's not lost on me why somebody with student loan debt may also have crazy high credit card debt, may also have crazy high car loans, may also have a much too high mortgage. It is a learned behavior. And in order to change that behavior, you need to be disciplined. And when you avoid the consequences of your actions, you never develop that discipline muscle. So y'all keep avoiding stuff if you want, but I'm going to take heed.
Did they promise you a job that you did not get? Did you spend all that money in student loans? Did you feel pressure to take out a student loan? Did you feel pressure to go to the school? Did they promise you
Victim.
anything upon graduating? I don't give a damn what the reason is. Go and submit an application and apply. You're welcome. Hope that helps.
So yeah, I made a video about me owing student loans, right? I owe about $150,000 in student loans. I got 2 degrees. I got a bachelor's in biology and I got a master's in secondary education with an endorsement in clinical mental health counseling, right?
She a teacher?
I said, so y'all mean to tell me y'all gonna garnish my check? I'm trolling, right? I made that video last night. I never knew it was so many negative people that would comment on that video. I feel like my video reached the wrong side of TikTok. Like, just laugh. I'm not mad about it. I haven't paid these years in over 4 years. After I graduated in 2021. You think I'm worried about it now?
I'm not paying back my student loans. I do not care. Oh, but what about your credit score? What am I going to do with a good credit score? Buy a house on starvation wages? Buy a car I can't afford to insure? I'm not paying them back. I don't give a shit about my credit score.
What is he going to do when I file for forbearance? If I file for bankruptcy?
You gotta be a special kind of dumb and a special kind of bootlicker to want repayment of these student loans to take into effect. Y'all are pieces of shit. There's no redeeming qualities in you at all. All it sounds like to me is that you were too dumb to go to college, and you think that because someone did go to college, they think they're better than you, and now you want them to suffer.
The projection is insane. It never is. It's always so funny to me. The people who have these potty mouths talking about other people not having any redeemable qualities at all, when we know that it's out of that mouth that heart is speaking. Like, all that you're projecting onto other people who are minding their own business and not even sharing their information online and are just commenting on y'all public videos, all that projection that you're doing is coming from the state of how you actually are.
You guys are losers.
You f***ers that keep saying, why should my tax dollars pay for other people's student loans? One, go yourself. If your tax dollars did pay for student loans, it's because you're investing in society as a whole. A rising tide lifts all.
I'm not quite sure I want to invest in y'all, to be honest. I'm not sure I want to bet on y'all stock. Making decisions like this and then not taking responsibility for it. It'll be one thing if you made the decision and then you took responsibility. I can bet on that. I can bet on that person. But the person with the victim mentality, I don't know.
Boats. The smarter that people are, the better off all of us are.
If people are taking large amounts of money for student loans without having any way to pay them back, that is a problem. I don't think taxpayers should have to eat the cost for student loan debt. I don't. I went to college. I have a bachelor's degree. I have a master's degree. I took out loans. I paid my loans back. That is what one does when they are fiscally responsible.
Just checked my credit score and it dropped significantly. I'm about to reapply to college. There is no fucking way. 114 points because I'm delinquent. And I have not been able to pay that. I'm sorry. Y'all need to back off. Okay, I need to go back to get my master's anyway. So let me figure this out. Okay, I have everything that I need in life. We getting back to the manifestations of I already have everything that I need. I don't need to buy.
No, wrong.
Nothing else. I don't need nothing else. Why? I already have everything that I need in life. I don't need nothing more. I don't need a new car. The car that I got is nice. Okay, it's Gucci. Where I live, I love where I live. Where I live is fabulous. I don't need to move again.
You really don't have to be delusional about this. You don't have to trick yourself into gratefulness, especially if you know where the source of it is. This is why biblical stewardship is so important, because when you believe that everything is God's anyways, and that he has given whatever he has given you to be a steward over, you don't have to trick yourself and wonder the source and trying to manifest the universe. Like, God gave you what he gave you as a gift, and he wants you to be a good steward of it, to invest and multiply and be a blessing to others. All this other mumbo jumbo is just confusing, and you have to literally trick yourself into believing it, which is essentially what we're seeing right here.
I don't need to move again. I don't need to do that. I have so much money. Money loves me. Money is flowing to me. Money loves me. My credit score is going up as we speak. My credit score is going up. I feel that in my soul. It is going up. It is going up, and I'm going back to school. I'm going back to school, and we're going to take a break. We're going to hold off on all of that. Listen, I'm going back anyways.
I've been playing a catch me if you can game with them student loans for a very long time. So I'm still going to continue to play that same game after May 5th. I don't know who these people think they are trying to take money back for a degree. Like, I'd understand if I owed something for something serious. A degree? You want me to pay you for me being an educated, upstanding individual in the society? I need to now pay you?
Yes, because that's what an educated, upstanding individual would do. What? What are we even talking about?
Because I'm intelligent? And a great civilian? Please.
All right, we're just going to wrap it there. The student loan crisis reveals a fundamental truth. The world's financial wisdom leads to bondage, while God's principles lead to freedom. When we follow the cultural myths and lies, we end up trapped in debt, dependent on others, and demanding bailouts. But when we follow God's design, God's blueprint, we make wise choices, honor our commitments, work diligently, and find contentment in him. But ultimately, you don't got to believe anything I'm saying, right? Some of you guys have already checked out and clicked off. You don't like hearing this. And the choice is yours. Will you follow the chaotic path of this world? Or will you embrace stability that comes from honoring God with your finances? If this message has helped you think differently about student loans or debt, please like this video and share it with someone you know who's considering college or struggling with student loans. Comment below your best advice to address these pervasive issues. And don't forget to subscribe to theedwardsreport.com for more biblical commentary and perspective on today's issues. I love y'all. I pray that the Lord blesses you, that he keeps you, that he turns his face towards you, and he gives you peace.